I'm going to put an end to this, okay? Now, Chrissy, I know you're a huge Flyers fan.
I am.
And for some reason you're a Redskins fan, but we're not going to get into that this week.
Hey, it was born into me.
It was born into you. Well, I'm going to introduce you as I introduce Frank, and I'm going to introduce myself to a Flyers legend. This guy is, as we said earlier in the show, probably one of the most favorite Flyers since Dave Schultz. Let's welcome to Totally Driven Radio, Mr. Riley Cote. Riley, how the hell you doing?
I'm good. What's up, guys?
Hey, man, how are you? This is Chrissy. I don't know if you watch Master Chef, Gordon Ramsay's show, but this is one of the contestants. She's from South Philly. She's a huge Flyers fan, so she had to hang on and say hello to you.
Awesome. Hey,
hi, Riley. How you doing? How you doing, doll? I love your dog. I see all his pictures on Instagram.
Knuckles, yeah. He's a beauty.
Yeah, definitely.
That's too funny.
Good luck the rest of the way with that.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I definitely brought the Broad Street Bully to L.A.
Exactly. Gotta do it.
That's awesome. All right, Chrissy, we will talk to you next week. Good luck this week. And remember, watch on Fox. Screw everybody else. Team Chrissy. That's it. And F. Natasha, okay?
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll see you.
All right, Chrissy. Take care.
All right, bye.
Riley, how you doing? Welcome to Totally Driven Radio.
I'm good. How about you guys?
Good. I got to tell you right off the bat, thank you, first off, for doing the show. And I remember years ago when you were still playing with the Flyers, you used to do Kid Chris a lot, and you were hysterical, always hysterical on the show. And I said, he's just like an everyday dude that you'd want to just hang out and drink beers with and just BS, and you would be a good time.
Yeah, man, I'm just a normal dude, I'm just happened to be a hockey player at the time, and that was kind of my life. But as far as just being hanging there with the best of them, and just normal dude. Now,
you played Phantoms and you played with the Flyers, and we had Lauren Hart on here a couple weeks ago, and something we were saying to her is, and you would probably be able to tell us better, is from our point of view, since we're Philly based, it seems like the Flyers organization, like once you're in that organization, like you're just part of the family, no matter where you go or what you do. Like, I mean, they made you an assistant coach with the Phantoms, and they've kept you in the family, and it seems like just a special. It's just truly family. I don't know if other organizations are like that, or other sports, or you know what I'm saying? Like they just keep such a tight bond to you guys, and I kind of think like. It all started with the Broad Street Bullies back in the 70s, and it just has continued through the decades.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's kind of a culture of loyalty almost. It's you see a lot of the guys in the organization, all ex-Flyers guys, and guys that kind of pay their dues and kind of shed their blood for the city and stuff like that. And Homer's been great to me. He obviously gave me a job with the Phantoms initially, and then ultimately I made the Flyers and he's just obviously an awesome guy for that regard, and believing in me and all that good stuff. And my last year with the Flyers, I was probably going to line up getting sent back down to the Phantoms, and he could kind of see. He kind of told me that, and he offered me the job. So just that's a lot of respect there coming from Paul Holmgren, who's obviously he's got a good credibility in the hockey world, and so I took the job. It was kind of a no-brainer for me. I mean, I kind of worked my way up through the system, and I just love Philly and love the Flyers, and just want to stay a part of it for as long as I can. So that was kind of the mentality going into the coaching aspect of it.
Did you ever expect yourself to become a coach? I mean, you're still a young guy.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I could have seen myself being a coach. I would have never said this early in my life, but sometimes your body sends you a message and your mind sends you a message when. I ran my body into the ground on and off the ice, man. I'm telling you, like, yeah, I was like, just to the point where it was hard. It was hard for me to get up and do it any longer. I think Homer saw that in me, where just like the guys weren't getting any smaller. I'm not getting any bigger. I mean, my frame is my frame, and I got all the fight in the world. It just David is the first Goliath every night. That doesn't always work. to plan either. You know what I mean? And it's just I think you could see that, but also that that I did what I had to do for the team and for the for the city, and it's just respect, mutual respect all around. So.
What's the feeling like when you go on there and you just pound somebody, and then you go back to the bench? I mean, them guys must just thank you so much, especially if you rally a team, if you guys are behind or down, and you just get that crowd pumped and the team pumped, and it turns everything around. I mean, they must be thank you. I mean.
Yeah, you know what? It's an unbelievable feeling. I don't think I'll ever find a feeling that matches up to the feeling of getting a fight in Philly and the crowd going crazy, and you going back to the bench after the penalty box visit and all that good stuff. I don't think there's a better feeling in the world, unless you maybe you're a rock star like Rolling Stones or something like that. But it's just a feeling of just I don't know, just the adrenaline and the energy in the building, and just the fact that you just fought somebody in front of 20,000 people, whatever the case may be, and the fact that you stuck up for your team. And then they pat you on the back, and it's a feeling you really can't describe. But for me, clearly I wasn't there to score goals. That was my goal. You know what I mean? When I did that as a bench, that was like scoring a goal for me. You know what I mean? And
right.
It's an unbelievable feeling. You can never describe it to somebody, and tell you feel the adrenaline going through your veins. The veins, and pretty much that takes over. You know what I mean? I didn't even think in half my fights. I just threw punches and bunches, man. Someone's going down.
Did you ever
now, something we were talking about earlier, Bay and I I think that people just see a guy who's an enforcer just come out and they just see him as a fighter. But if you look at the aspect, I was discussing this with Bay earlier, I remember there was quite a few times I saw you come out on the ice and the whole mood of the other team changed. They kind of backed off of everything because, number one, no one wanted to get into a fight with you. And number two is it kind of changed the mood of the game. And I think that's where you guys didn't get enough credit, like some guys who they called the enforcers, but it was just the presence out there. Now that they've cut down on a lot of that, do you think it's taken away from what's going on today in the?
I mean, I think so. I mean, I 100% agree with what you're saying there. I mean, even since I retired, so did heavyweights like Brashear and LaRock and Eric Goddard sent to the minors, Steve McIntyre's in the minors, all the legit heavyweights have really kind of disappeared. I mean, there's still some around, don't get me wrong, but they're definitely trying to take it out. But the accountability factor, and when I do something, I do it as hard as I can. And going through junior hockey, I wasn't a fighter per se. I actually put up points, believe it or not. But when I turned pro, I was looking at the guys getting called up. It was guys with lots of points or lots of penalty minutes. So I'm like, man, I'm going up against some stiff competition in the points department. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to fight everybody and their brother until I get noticed, and then I'll get a crack at fighting legit heavyweights in the NHL. And that's exactly what I did. But it trust me, it wears on you, and it's just. But I mean, the guys that were around 5, 6 years ago, there were some guys floating around 6'8", 270 pounds. I mean, these guys are the big human beings. But I mean, you got to be able to play the game somewhat to make it to the NHL. I mean, you know what I mean. But the whole point of the role is to you're playing the role, right? I mean, clearly I'm not a guy that's going to go and take on another team away from the rink. But, when I'm at the rink, I will. You know what I mean? You got to act crazy. You got to keep people accountable, keep them in check. And it's kind of a game within a game where you're trying to make their team believe you're going to jump them or believe you're going to slash them in the face or whatever the stupid comment you make to get them going. You know what I mean? Again, it's playing the role. I mean, it's an act, even though you have to act on it at the end of the day when the time comes.
Now, I can't imagine what it was like to get hit bare-fisted. Bay and I, we used to be professional wrestlers, so we took some falls, and I did a couple amateur boxing, and they were with gloves, and I knew getting hit with the gloves, but just to get hit with a bare fist must have been unbelievable. But one thing I noticed, I seen the way you held your head. Did you have any kind of professional fighting training? Because sometimes, man, you were holding your hands perfectly, and you were just so accurate. And I still remember the fight with Andre Roy where it was basically 2 punches.
Yeah. Well, I did take some MMA stuff, more so like stand-up grip fighting, and more so just to get the balance and the grips and stuff like that. And I remember the guy I trained with is always punches and bunches, and especially a hockey fight, you try and get your licks in quickly because there's so many variables in a hockey fight. You trip over, you're in the corner, you fall, whatever the case may be. So you want to get your licks in early. And for me, it was like do all the training and stuff like that. But when the time comes and you're fighting somebody, you just go, and adrenaline takes over, and pure instinct takes over. And for me, it was just throwing punches. You know what I mean? And when the crowd's going, your adrenaline's going, your blood's boiling, you don't even think. I get hit 20 times, and I wouldn't even feel it till the next day. You know what I mean? Like, everything's going. So you just kind of, for me, I just kind of, for the most part, stood in there and, punch for punch kind of deal, for the most part. It's probably not the smartest way to fight, but, you know what I mean? I guess I'm just a brawler, and just, I just want to go. That's the way I fought. I mean, try and slow it down and try and be all technical. That wasn't really the way I fight, So that was what I did.
Is that something common though? Like you said you took some training. Do other guys in that role? Do you think they take training as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's pretty wild.
The way has evolved so much. I mean, I remember talking to Dave Schultz and guys, the fighters in the past, and it's been more on just being the bigger guy, and being, have a little bit more of an edge mentally, because obviously you got to go into a different place mentally to be a fighter. But now it's taken on such a big role. Well, it's kind of diminished now, but it did take on a huge role, through the 90s and the 2000s, and guys took training, did the stand up, the Greco-Roman wrestling, and the just keeping the balance, dirty boxing kind of stuff, MMA stand up stuff, because you got to get an edge. I mean, you're fighting somebody, so why would you go in there with absolutely no idea what you're doing if you're going to fight a guy 50 pounds heavier and 4 inches taller than you? You know what I mean? You better have a game plan somewhat.
Did you ever get into a fight with somebody and not realize who you're in there with, and then all of a sudden go, oh no, what did I do?
No, you know what? To tell you the truth, I didn't, because I always knew. I mean, I did my homework, man. I knew I was fighting pretty much every night. It's like I look at the biggest guy, the guy with the most penalty minutes, and it's usually the same guy. So I mean, I would run around, act like a jackass a little bit until stir it up, and then you get the crowd going, and just and the other guy knew it too. It wasn't a shocker. He was fighting me.
Right.
He knew I was a gamer.
So who's the toughest guy you ever traded punches with?
The toughest guy?
Yeah, in your opinion, who do you think was your toughest opponent ever?
Well, geez, I mean, there's definitely a couple of them. I would have to say The Rock, Brashear, Steve McIntyre, Colt North. Those probably 4. Eric Goddard, probably 5. I mean, they're all super tough guys. Brashear. Actually, it's kind of ironic. Like my first training camp where I made the Flyers, I had a really good fight with Brashear, and it's probably the reason I made the Flyers, showing that I could actually hang in there with, legit heavyweights. And then I fought him a couple more times, and he landed up pounding me pretty good later down the road. But George The Rock, as tough as he is in his fight card, the guys he's fought, I did actually pretty damn good against him 3 times. And, hung in there. He's lefty, obviously way overmatched. I'm way overmatched in that fight, but but definitely those guys, especially with their history and their fight card history, and I gotta say those 2 guys for sure.
Now you're assistant coach at the Phantoms, right?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so I just got done reading Jeremy Roenick's book, which if you haven't read it, phenomenal. And one of the things that I thought was really cool was he was saying when he was early on when he was with the Blackhawks and Keenan was coaching. He said one time each, in training camp, Keenan would get on the skates and tell the guys, this is it. You have your all-out, come at me, give it to me, hit me, check me, whatever you want to do. One time each year he would do that. I mean, do you get in there and play with the guys? You smack them around a little during practice? Do you do anything like that, or are you just kind of low profile?
Well, for the most part, regular practice, it's kind of, pretty, as far as practice, it's generic. They go through drills, but, we have extra guys that we always skate, if we're injured or extra bodies. We line up playing a 2-pass game. It can either be 2-on-2, 3-on-3, so I always play those kind of games. I try to when I bag skate guys, try to get them back in shape for coming from injury. I like to just skate with the guys. You know what I mean? Feel like I'm in it with them and we're part of a team, and instead of me just standing on the line and blowing the whistle. So I do try and get involved. I don't necessarily get involved like during actual practice, but extra stuff I have fun with them, and try and keep it loose with the guys, so it's not so much like drill sergeant and soldier kind of mentality.
Do you feel like it's gratifying to you as a coach now? Were you expecting to enjoy coaching, or you happier when you were a player, or?
Well, you know what? Like, they're so different. Two completely different things. One I'm playing for the Philadelphia Flyers, and I'm slugging it out and doing all this good stuff, and now I'm sitting behind the bench and putting together game plans and preparing the players to play hockey games. I mean, two completely different things. I'm actually a lot more at peace with myself than I was when I was playing. I love the lifestyle and stuff like that, but it was maybe a little bit overwhelming for me, and just maybe I just like ran myself in the ground a little bit too hard with it. But so now I've kind of a different approach. Now I guess I'm the teacher. I've changed my lifestyle, and I'm thinking more clearly, and I really understand how it all works. So I think I can pass on my message, and I love doing that and helping kids. I would love to have a better record with the Phantoms the last couple of years, but I guess that's pro sports sometimes. But the guys that have gone up with the Flyers have done really well, so that's always good to see, and that's what it's all about when you're in the minors. So
that's cool. Now, a big thing you're involved with is this whole hemp thing, which you got to explain this to us. Now, exactly what is it? I mean, right away I think hemp. I'm thinking it's weed or pot or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. All right.
Now,
well, I'll explain it to you and educate you. So you got the cannabis plant. Everybody knows cannabis. And it's got two different varieties. One has drug value, one doesn't. The one that has drug value is marijuana. The one that doesn't have drug value is industrial hemp. So you actually grow the cannabis plant with no THC, or very limited THC. So it's basically grown for industrial use. Textiles, fibers, the seed. You can make door panels out of it. You can make fiberglass, composites, hempcrete. You can do anything with it. Lotions, hair products. And obviously the other side is the marijuana side, which is like falls into the medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, or whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, you can smoke acres of hemp and you'll probably get a really dirty headache. But as far as drug value, there's none. So it's basically it's a renewable, sustainable resource that I support. Well, I support the whole plant, but that's kind of the angle I'm taking because of the health benefits of the hemp seeds and the hemp protein and all that good stuff.
Well, now see, I did not know that much stuff. I knew like rope and clothing. I actually have a shirt that is made out of hemp, but I didn't know that you could make like the harder products with it. Like, oh man, yeah.
I mean, hell, Henry Ford built a car out of hemp and ran it on hemp fuel before it is even made illegal, and that's why it's illegal. You know what I mean? It's like it's too good of a plant. You allow your competition in your bank. So I mean, there's a little bit. Obviously, it's political. Because God knows you wouldn't have made a mistake and put the wrong plant on Earth. That civilizations have thrived off of for thousands of years. You know what I mean? It's like, well, 1937, all of a sudden you make it illegal. It's like, to me, I call bogus, but I mean, it is what it is, and I mean, you got to support Mother Nature a little bit, I think here,
Well, I'm going to agree with you that's a little too convenient that you can make a sustainable car on something that we could probably grow, and now, I mean, now you got my curiosity up because it's amazing to me that the government, doesn't even want to bother looking into this because it could do so much. I mean, you got farmers that can't make ends meet. Yeah. They could grow this crop, and we our reliance on foreign oil and petroleum-based products would drop to nothing. So I don't understand the whole thinking on why we wouldn't even want to look at that.
Well, I think
that's just amazing.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's pre-calculated perfectly. It's not that they haven't looked into it. It's just that the people that are making the money off the prohibition of cannabis are the ones that are lose out on it. You know what I mean? So like they're lobbying against it, and that's why the vicious cycle takes place. Actually, Washington and Colorado just recently passed full legalization laws, and the first hemp crop in America in 60 years just got planted last week. So I mean, if you talk about a plant that can help the economy and heal the environment and heal the air, heal the bodies, I mean that's it. It's just. I mean, it's pulling teeth. I mean, we live in a chemical world, a toxic world. You know, eco-friendly plant that doesn't require any sort of chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides, and you've outlawed it. You know, to profit in a chemical world. It's actually sickening, really.
Yeah, and then you wonder if it starts growing, if they're going to want to add like 50 billion things like they do to everything else.
I'd have to imagine that once they fully legalize it, which they will very, very soon, I would imagine, that big corporations will be started making genetically modified hemp seeds and growing them genetically modified like they're doing with corn and soy, so they run their agriculture business. You know what I mean? They're not going to always let an average farmer, the average Joe, take over the hemp industry. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. It's just it's going to have to go through, I imagine, corporate America, and you know what I mean? They're going to do what they want to do with it, and you know, I think the power is taken out of the farmer. I mean, look at agriculture just regularly. I think 90% of all all corn and soy are genetically modified and run by major corporations as opposed to the local farmer. You know, who knows the local farmer these days? I mean, you have to sniff around pretty hard to find one. You know.
And it's funny because I was just talking to somebody about this a few days ago on the chemicals and how all these kids now are getting all these different kinds of weird allergies. Like everybody's allergic to gluten now. The peanut allergies are going through the roof.
Yeah.
And I said, you didn't have this when I was a kid. You know, I'm 43 years old, and you didn't have this. And I like I said, you got the meat you eat has more steroids than
exactly
special bodybuilder, and
you have a lot of
now they got all these.
I mean, you think about an average American diet. I mean, it consists of a lot of processed food, and usually one of the two ingredients for sure is either corn or soy in there, either corn syrup or some sort of soy product, which is genetically modified. There's no nutrition in it. I mean, allergies of soy and dairy and gluten have skyrocketed between the genetically modified foods, the chemicals on the foods, and just just like the lifestyle people live, and they wonder why they're sick at the end of the day. But in their defense, most people aren't educated. Most people don't even know what a GMO is, and it's saddening because people are getting poisoned and don't even know it.
Now,
I actually just watched a documentary on how the government was cracking down on people selling raw milk, and they were like just going in like it almost looked like they were sending armies in to close down these little people that were selling. Maybe 10.
It's a SWAT team and to shut down an Amish farm. It seems crazy, right?
Yeah, and then speaking of the hemp, I don't know if you ever seen the documentary about Tommy Chong, where they sent the ATF in and all this just because he was selling the smoking bongs.
Yeah.
And they actually framed him, and it just makes you wonder. And now that you're bringing to light that this stuff is, that you can do more, you can do so much with it. You're blowing my mind right now.
Yeah. You want me to really blow your mind? You brought up that Tommy Chong story. He goes to jail for that whole bong thing you're talking about, and he claims to have gotten prostate cancer in jail because of the diet he was consuming, which was, again, high soy products and processed foods, no real nutrition. So he comes out of jail. If you want to go on the other side of the plant, the medical side, well, if you make essential oil out of cannabis, they call it cannabis oil. It actually heals and, from what I understand, cures cancer. Well, he's already cured his cancer since he's been in jail. So call that one, whatever, write that one up however you want. But it's pretty interesting, and you can actually look it up, and it's actually factual.
Now I saw on your site.
I think, what was it, Eddie Van Halen, I think, was another one who was saying that he used the oils to help cure his cancer.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge now.
He was talking about that at one time, if I'm not mistaken. I might, but it's just amazing because, you know, you're hearing all this and you're like, well, how are they keep and how are people standing by? It's like you said, you know, they're not educated, but I can't see how you can't just, when you hear something like this, want to, you know, and I'm hoping all our listeners just go on and learn all they can about this.
Well, absolutely. It lands up being a human rights issue. I mean, you know what I mean? How can you outlaw a plant? You know what I mean? It's like something that's so beneficial to the people and the earth and everything. I mean, that sounds granola and all, but it's fact. We live in a poisonous world, and it's toxic, and there's chemicals everywhere. It's, you know, it's an economy based on oil, and it's a non-renewable resource, and it just seems so crooked in my opinion. But once people kind of hear it and learn about it, I mean, I would hope that it would, you know, trigger some sort of interest because, I mean, you can help save your life here. You know what I mean? When you suppress a plant, so you know, chemically made things thrive. Is, in my opinion, as crooked as it comes. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Especially if, you know, if there is a chance that this can help. You know, even if it doesn't cure, but if it could help with cancer. I mean, I lost my mother and grandmother to cancer, and Bay's lost family members to cancer. And to think that something that could help you was within reach, but the government purposely held it down, it just makes me angry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, now you look at the U.S., I think there's 18 states now legal for medical marijuana laws, 2 states fully legalized, so clearly there's something with the plant. You know what I mean? Whether you need the research or not to believe it, clearly someone's believing in the plant, and someone's getting some sort of results from the plant, but it's still a Schedule I drug. I mean, you know, same category as like heroin and cocaine and stuff like that, meaning it has no medical value. You know what I mean? You know, it's a ton of hypocrisy here. You know what I mean? It's like it's legal now at the state level, 18 states, but it's still at the federal level. It's still a Schedule I drug, meaning it has no medicinal value at all. You know what I mean? It's pretty wild if you kind of dissect the whole thing.
Now you have a whole foundation.
Now where would you recommend that our listeners and anybody who's interested, what's the best place to get the information?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of information out there. I mean, I have a foundation called the Hemp Heals Foundation, hemphealsfoundation.com. I kind of just go more so onto the the industrial side of the plant, obviously. But medicalcannabis.com if you want to go on the other side of it. I mean, you really just need to kind of just spend some time and Google it. And my thing is, like, you know, believe nothing, question everything, because there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of brainwashing, and people just need to, you know, sit back and look at the big picture and, you know, kind of see how it is, and, you know, kind of make their own thoughts as opposed to being told what to believe. You know what I mean?
You know what? I think we need to get you into politics.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know what you think, right?
I think I'm too honest to be a politician. I don't know. No offense to any of the politicians out there.
Oh, no, they're all crooked as the day is long, but I agree with you 150%.
I think I'm just too honest and real about it. You know what I mean? Otherwise the stuff wouldn't be allowed. The chemicals and the foods wouldn't be allowed. You know, the chemicals and the plants wouldn't be allowed. Like, all this stuff wouldn't be allowed if it was about what's good for the people. You know what I mean? It's not. It's about making money for certain people and making people sick on the other side of it. You know, that sounds crazy, but it's happening right before us.
And you're doing your foundation is doing a concert in September in Philly at the Penn's Landing Pier.
Yeah, this will be the 2nd annual Hemp Heals Music Festival. This year the headliner is Revolution, Modest Yahoo, Collie Butts, Zion One. We got 3 local bands as well. So last year was a pretty good turnout. We had Sublime with Rome, Cypress Hill, and Pepper as headliners. But just education. I mean, people just need to, you know, hear some information to trigger their interest. You know what I mean? Just need to spark it a little bit and just, you know, I mean, because people are interested in different things. People got different things going on in their lives, and I understand that right away people aren't exactly attracted to the word cannabis. But I think if you sit back and look at the whole thing and the whole picture, you can see how cannabis affects everybody. You know, prohibition of cannabis affects everybody, whether they think so or not, you know. I mean, think about the economy, how you can help the economy with just legalizing a plant, the farming, you know, the processing, the textiles, all this stuff. I mean, I can go on for days on this, but you outlaw a resource, a renewable one, a sustainable one. And and it's preventing people from living a high quality, eco-friendly life, I guess, at the end of the day.
Well, you'll have to call back in before the concert, and we'll promote the concert for you as well.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely do that. I appreciate that.
And actually, we have a big fan of yours on the line. Let's get this person on the air. Is this who I think it is?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Hi, this is Kathy, and she's on Totally Driven Radio. Kathy, say hi to Riley.
Hello, Riley. How are you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
Good. Hey, Frank, how you been, guys? It's been a while.
Good. We're always good.
Riley, I remember when you were talking about Brashear, that fight at training camp. I was there and I watched it.
Oh yeah, were you really?
I always usually go to the Flyers training camp because I work right down the street from there.
Oh, right on.
And I've been one of your biggest fans. I'm a huge Flyer fan, period, but I've definitely been a fan of yours, and I'm glad, and listen to you talk about the hemp and everything. That is very interesting because I definitely have to research that because of my cancer.
Yeah, I would definitely. Well, I appreciate everything you said there. That means a lot. But I also recommend you really looking into it because it's the life or death situation when it comes to cancer and other diseases, and I think there's more than one way to approach it. It requires research and some time to figure out what exactly you want to do.
Oh, definitely. Now, are you still coach? Are you going to still be an assistant coach with the Phantoms this year?
Yeah, I'm still with the Phantoms for sure. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
so
looking forward to a new season.
Anything else you wanted to say, Kath?
No, I'm just a huge fan of his. Like I told you before, I'm a really big Cote fan.
Yeah, she got all excited when I put up there that you're going to be on the show. She got all excited. She's like, "Oh, when's he going to be on? What time? Phone number? I'm calling in." There you go.
All right, I appreciate the phone call.
Thanks, Babe. Just totally embarrassed me on that one, Babe.
No problem, Kath. Anytime.
She did sound a little starstruck there, Babe.
Shut up, Frank.
All right, Kath. Thanks for the call.
Riley, these are two of the greatest guys you could ever talk to.
That sounds like it, yeah. For sure. I'm glad to be on.
All right, guys. Talk to you later. Thanks.
See ya.
See you later.
Wow, we got put over by Kathy Fitz, Frank.
There you go.
There you go.
She's a good friend of ours, and she's been fighting cancer for a long time. And you know what? I'm actually glad that we talked about this because, if she comes across something and it helps her, the words could never do it justice.
Yeah, no, you know what? And I do a lot of reading on this whole topic just to it's a passion of mine, just like the whole health and the healing process of the human body. And there's so much misinformation out there where basically cancer and disease at the end of the day is just your body is way too toxic. So if you start removing toxins from your life and the foods you eat and replace them with real foods, your body heals. Your body is designed to heal. You know what I mean? And again, it's whatever pharmaceutical companies can do, Mother Nature can do best, in my opinion. But it's having faith in it. You know what I mean? You got to have faith in whatever decision you make and path you choose, and you're fighting it. So, but again, it's a serious part of someone's life, and you have to make an educated decision. Again, it requires research and the time spent to research it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, it's so interesting, and it's almost like it's like a hidden thing. The government has hidden all this stuff from us for years, and with the whole cancer thing, it's a shame too. We figure if this could really help with cancer, and they won't pursue it, or maybe they even know and they hide it from us. Stuff like that just aggravates me, especially losing family members to cancer, like myself and you, Frank, and stuff like that. It's just it's just aggravating.
No, absolutely, and I feel the same way. When I first, started learning all this, it kind of infuriated me too a little bit. And But all you can do in this world is, do positive, educate, and, just do your thing in a positive way. And I think people will learn. I mean, there's a revolution going on. There's no question. People, especially with the internet today and all this stuff, and you can, figure it out, and, you can kind of research it yourself as opposed to just taking someone's word for it, especially something so serious, someone tells you this and it's got to be that. You know what I mean? Well, what happens if there's another way? What happens if this is, you know what I mean? You kind of question it, and I think that's the whole thing is like you're kind of learning how to think, not what to think, I think that's
right.
the biggest thing.
Wow. Well, Riley, it's been great having you on.
You've opened our eyes
to a lot of stuff tonight. Yeah, like I said, definitely. Call in anytime you want. You're now a friend of the show, and we're going to support you with this whole hemp thing and look into it more. Actually, I saw you. So what you can buy hemp seeds and.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, hemp is America's #1 import right now as far as fiber and textile. The hemp seeds you can buy at Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, hemp protein, hemp bars, hemp cereal. I mean, you can buy that at all the health food stores. So it's that good, and that's in health food stores, but it's just not able to be grown in the U.S., So it's imported. It ends up being grown in Canada or China and imported, and then you can buy, hemp shirts and hemp anything, really. It just lands up costing more because it's imported instead of being grown here. You know what I mean? So,
gotcha.
But I mean, Mercedes is using the hemp in their door panels, and Lotus is using it in the fiberglass in the frame. It's that good, but they don't want to support it, or they don't want to come out publicly and say they're using cannabis products. But whatever the case may be, it's just mainstream companies are using it. It's just a matter of time before it blows up,
Cool. Wow. Again, Riley, thank you so much. You are the man. You're loved by us. You're loved by Philly. And you'll be in Philly in September, so maybe we'll see you.
Yeah, for sure. Come on by training camp.
Cool, definitely.
Hey, you don't have to invite us twice. We'll be there.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you, Riley, so much. Take care, and we'll be talking soon.
Sounds good. Have a good night, guys.
Thank
too.
you very much.
Good.
There you go, Frank. Riley Cote. Oh, I hung up on Frank by accident. There you go, Frank. Call back in.